North Branch Nature Center acknowledges that we reside upon the traditional and unceded home of the Western Abenaki people. These lands and waters have been a site of meeting and exchange among Indigenous peoples for thousands of years. North Branch Nature Center honors, recognizes, and respects the Abenaki as the traditional stewards of this landscape. We strive to respect and protect this land while continually honoring the legacy of Vermont's Indigenous people, the Abenaki people of the Dawn.
Let me turn this off.
Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Montpelier Ingathering Sunday. I'm the Reverend Joan Javier Duval and I use she, her pronouns. Welcome into this time of worship as we return into this gathering of people of all ages to build community and nurture our spiritual growth. In recent years, we have learned what it's like to declare the church open while still being closed. We learned what it means to gather, not necessarily in the same physical space, yet to gather our spirits into a greater collective using the means available to us. And today we once again practice being an adaptable, partially remote, loving and courageous spiritual community. Thank you for being here, whether in person or on Zoom, creating a space and time of welcome, compassion, reverence, and joy here and now.
Good morning. My name is Tom Sherpston, and my pronouns are he, him, and his, and I am your worship associate this morning. On behalf of the entire worship team, I can guarantee you that we are so happy that you are here with us. Whether you are a newcomer or a longtime member or somewhere in between, you are part of our community, and we very much appreciate your presence and fellowship. Since 1864, this Unitarian Universalist congregation has been a sanctuary for those seeking spiritual sustenance, as well as peace and justice in the world. With you here today, we continue on that path. Please know that we have hearing assist devices available on a very small table at the back of the room. It's always a pleasure to have newcomers and guests join us for worship. If this is your first or second time visiting and you wish to do so, you are invited to wave your hand so we might offer you a special welcome. Thank you so much. We might have people out there who chose not to raise their hands, but you're still welcome. Any of you who are newcomers to our congregation and worship service are encouraged to fill out, to join us at coffee hour following the service so we can offer you a more personal welcome. Also, the people at the welcome table are encouraging you to fill out a welcome form so that we can connect with you outside of this service. Again, a warm welcome to each and every one of you. I invite you now to turn to your neighbors from your seat here in the Maxim room and offer one another your greetings.
Quite a few people there. Are you here?
Thank you for sharing these warm greetings. You are invited to continue these conversations at coffee hour, and we do have coffee today.
Our opening words are adapted from the Reverend Molly House Gordon, minister at the UU Church of Columbia, Missouri. We gather together this morning tenderly, like drops of dew on a leaf grass, hopefully like gathered raindrops in a cloud, gleefully like water running in a stream to the sea, deeply like groundwater pulled up from a well. We gather from every direction for another year of growth and depth, another year of companionship and hope, another year of learning to love this world. We gather in from a summer full of climate extremes, from drought to flood, from wildfire to hurricane, and we humble ourselves before the power of the elements. We gather because we need each other to survive. We gather because it is only in gathering that we find solace, hope, and a path forward as tender creatures on a wild and beautiful planet. And now, as we call the directions, you are invited to stand if you wish and as you are able. Let us face
to the east, that direction. We gather from the east, where air animates life. We bring waters from east of us, from mountain falls and sandy beaches, from oceans and bogs. From every place our souls have been renewed. We bring waters that remind us of torrential flooding right in our backyard, and of neighbors who gathered to clean up after the storms. May our gathering bring us wisdom.
We gather from the south. Please turn clockwise. Where heat energizes life. We bring waters from south of us, from slow rivers and the warm Gulf, from rock bottom creeks and lazy lake days. From every place our souls have been awakened. We bring waters that remind us of the hottest ocean waters we've known in the Gulf, and of Mexican students fighting to preserve the forests that preserve our waterways. May our gathering ignite our passion.
We gather from the west, where water refreshes life. We bring water from the west of us, from the ocean and river, lake and streams, from scarcity in desert land and abundance flowing through mountains. From every place our souls have been refreshed. We bring waters that remind us of tropical storms where they have never been before, and of neighborhood sandbag filling parties, connecting people in preparation and care. May our gathering awaken our intuition. We gather from the north, where the earth cradles life. We bring waters from vast lakes. From every place our souls have been invigorated. We bring waters that remind us of wildfires and melting glaciers and pipelines threatening the health of our waterways, and of the indigenous water protectors fighting back across the world. May our gathering ground our hearts.
And now we turn to face the center of the room. That might mean turning or standing just as you were. We gather from the center where the Spirit uplifts life. We bring waters from home, from the North Branch River flowing just beyond our sight, from our sinks and wells and rain barrels, from every place our souls have been nourished. We bring waters that remind us of rain, rain and more rain, and of all those who work to clean up and protect our waterways. May our gathering make us whole, connected, and bound together in a holy community, so that together we might attend to the survival of all. I invite you to remain standing or rise in spirit for our opening hymn, We Would Be One. The words can be found in your order of service.
Let us now light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. This morning, we have Emily Seifert to light the chalice. As Emily lights the chalice, I invite you to light a chalice at home if you have one nearby. We light this flame, an enduring symbol of our collective commitment to lead with truth and compassion. Now let us join our voices in saying the words of affirmation adapted from L. Griswold Williams. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant.
I have a story to share with all of you this morning, and it's a story that was written and told many, many years ago, and that continues to be told. And then this story was reimagined by my colleague, the Reverend Lynn Gardner, co-minister at the UU Society of Schenectady, New York. And now I have it to share with you. And I welcome any children who might be present this morning in the room to come forward if you would like to have a better view of some of the props I have that go along with the story. Are there any children present who might like to come up? There's some space to sit, or you're welcome to stay where you are, or come up at an interesting moment too. Come and go as you please during this story. In the book of Genesis, in the Hebrew Bible, which is a sacred scripture for Jews and Christians, we read the story of Noah and the Ark. How many of you have heard of that story? Noah and Noah's Ark. So many people. I love the religious literacy in this room. Yay! So this story is inspired by that one. And once there was, and once there wasn't, a man named Shem. One day, Shem's father, whose name was Noah, and who had grown into old age, told his family that God had spoken to him. And God had told Noah that everything on earth was going to change. Can you imagine something that would impact everyone on earth? Shem couldn't imagine. Noah began building an ark, a huge boat with 3 stories and room for everyone in his family. And the ark had to be this big because God had told Noah to gather 2 of every animal, every bird, every insect to be on the ark. Some of the animals that might have gone on the ark are in this basket. Might be enticing. Nice, soft, furry animals here to hold in your hand or on your lap. You could choose one. Any littles in the room are welcome. Can you imagine 2 of every bird, every insect? Shem couldn't imagine. Noah said that soon the rain would come, that there would be flooding, that everything would be covered with water, and that they would need to stay in the ark, and they didn't know for how long. They needed supplies, so they bought food and medicine and cleaning supplies and toilet paper. You need toilet paper on the ark. They gathered everything they would need to be on that ark for a long time. Can you imagine? Shem couldn't imagine. And then it happened. The rain came, more than anyone had ever seen before, more than anyone expected. Some of their leaders said the rain wasn't going to be a big deal. They said it wouldn't last long, but it did. It rained and it rained. And the waters rose, and Shem's family needed to stay in the ark. They were grateful for a safer place to be, even though it was hard. They knew that others were not protected, that many people and beings were dying. They felt sad and angry that this was happening. But Noah said that they needed to stay in the ark. Can you imagine? Shem couldn't imagine how it was going to turn out. Now, being inside the ark was safe, but it wasn't really fun, at least not after the first couple of days. They missed their friends. They missed being outside. They missed all the things they used to do. The animals smelled and were noisy, and their family wasn't much better. Can you imagine? Finally, after a long time, the rain stopped. But there was still water everywhere, and they couldn't see any land. And after months, months, and months, the water slowly began to dry up. And the ark settled up on a mountaintop that was sticking up out of the water. And finally, the water receded enough that they could open the doors and go out into the world once again. They knew that things would never be as they had been, and they wondered how things would be in the future. Can you imagine? As they prepared to go outside, they saw a beautiful rainbow in the sky. I'm going to need some help here with the rainbows. They saw a beautiful rainbow in the sky. Noah told them that the rainbow was a sign of their covenant with God. God was promising that there would never be another flood that covered the entire earth. Shem and his wife Salit looked at the rainbow with their children. It was beautiful. Does this mean that nothing bad will ever happen again? Asked one of their sons. No, said Salit. Life will always have struggles and challenges, and sometimes people will make choices that are harmful to others. The rainbow can be a reminder that whatever happens, we are in it together, that each of us matters, and that love will always be with us. And they stood together under the rainbow's beautiful colors. They watched the animals leaving the ark, spreading out over the land. Shem was going to miss seeing the elephants every day. They felt the warm sunshine and saw new life growing across the earth. The sun sparkled on the water that had returned to the rivers and lakes and oceans. And from deep inside, they felt a well of hope. Can you imagine? That's the end of the story. This was an unusual and extraordinary summer in so many ways. Can I get an amen? Amen. We are here in this beautiful space. Thank you to the North Branch Nature Center for hosting us. But we are here because of the damage caused to our church building, the spiritual home of this congregation, by the flooding in July. We continue to feel the effects of the flood in our community. The frequency of rain throughout the summer impacted the kinds of activities that we could or could not do, the travel plans we may have had, the home gardens that we were tending. We faced the unexpected in big ways. And something that I noticed, along with the presence of the rain and more rain, was also the presence of many, many rainbows. Did anyone else notice the incredible rainbows this summer? On one particular day in late July, when everything was feeling gloomy, I was just so delighted to witness a rainbow, bright and vibrant, appear in the sky. I probably felt like Shem and his family in the story, surprised and hopeful. An interesting thing about rainbows is that they're kind of an optical illusion. They don't actually exist in any specific spot in the sky, and they're actually a full circle. Did you know this? They're a full circle, but we usually only see a part of the rainbow. You can sometimes see rainbows around fog or waterfalls, but usually the rainbows that we're most familiar with are the ones that appear sometimes after the rain has stopped and the sun comes out. Whether and where a rainbow appears and shows up after the rain depends on our location as sunlight enters the water droplets and is dispersed into many different rays of light and then reflected back to our eyes. Rain and rainbows both exist. Both are present as we journey through life. As we gather together once again in this religious and spiritual community, I believe that we can help one another to navigate the storms and to witness the rainbows. We offer one another our presence, compassion, and care. We offer one another our humor, grace, strength, and hope. We share our gifts that can help one another to refract and reflect the light through the water drops. And we return to community to renew our spirits and the bonds of love that guide us and hold us. Together, we open our hearts and face the rains and the rainbows together. And today we join with hundreds of Unitarian Universalist congregations that mark the beginning of their church year with the celebration of the water ceremony. The water ceremony, as we celebrate it, originates from the Women and Religion Continental Convocation of Unitarian Universalists, which took place in East Lansing, Michigan in 1980. The creators of the ritual, Carolyn McDade and Lucille Shuck Longview, wanted it to speak to our connectedness to one another, to the totality of life, and to our place on this planet. They also designed it as a ritual of empowerment for those who were gathered at the convocation, who had long been kept at the margins of our religious movement. The ritual has evolved over time, and today we join in the tradition of interconnection and community building that the ritual pioneered over 40 years ago now. We bring forth our waters gathered from many places, near and far, both new and familiar. The places from which our waters have been gathered are joined together in the interdependent web of life. From the rains that fall onto parched or overly saturated soil, that seep into the ground, that fill streams and creeks and rivers and ponds, reservoirs and lakes. We know that water is a life-giving element. Life cannot be sustained without it. Yet it is also powerful, and like any element of nature, can cause destruction when it inundates human communities, as we have so recently experienced. Water in its power is a sacred element that reminds us that we are indeed all connected and that our collective well-being is bound together. During our ceremony, your waters will join together in the common bowl of our community. We will pour our waters together, bringing our community back together after a summer of pursuing our own spiritual paths and adventures. We bring together our unique gifts, our own personal stories, our diverse theologies and spiritualities, and our commitment to this community. In just a moment, you'll be invited to share the spiritual significance of the water, as well as its source. And the meaning behind your water may be something in your life that is in need of renewal and refreshing, or the meaning you share might be something you can offer this community to help nourish others' spirits. For example, you might share water of compassion from Caspian Lake, or water of healing from the Atlantic Ocean, water of abundance from the rain barrel, waters of loss and grief from the river. Everyone present today may participate in this water ceremony: children, adults, first-time visitors, longtime members. We have some extra pitchers. If you did not happen to bring water with you, you can still share in this ceremony to pour symbolic water into the bowl. And our sharing of water will take place in two parts this morning. In just a moment, I'll invite those of you who are on the north side of the room, which we have learned is this side of the room, to come forward. And later, after the time of meditation, we'll have those folks on this south side of the room come forward to share. And after all have shared in both parts, we will pour water into the bowl to represent the waters of those of you joining online. Before you come forward, though, I would invite you to just take a few moments. If you're in the room, you can turn to someone near you and just share a little bit about the water you have brought or that you will be sharing about. And if you're joining on Zoom, you can write something in the comments. We'll share for a couple of minutes and then we'll begin the ceremony. Thank you for sharing. So Tom will be the first to share, to model our sharing. When you come forward, you can use the center aisle, come forward. I invite you, if you are speaking, to come to the microphone to share, and you can share first, briefly, the spiritual significance of your water and its source, and then you can pour some into the bowl and then return using the side aisle. And you are also welcome to come and pour silently if you wish. So Tom, please get us started.
This water represents gratitude that Wrightsville Reservoir did exactly what it was supposed to. This is water from the reservoir that did not flood Montpelier.
This is symbolic water from another reservoir, the Waterbury Reservoir, symbolizing water of restoration and rejuvenation.
This is symbolic water from a jar that I have in my desk at home that was purified from the water ceremony at First Parish Church. And so sharing that water, even symbolically, is a signal that I'm all in here with this congregation.
This is water of overabundance from the rain gauge in my yard one day in July.
This water comes from the brook that in my backyard, which overflowed in July and reminded me that it's not a tame brook and we can't ask it to be, and we all need to find a way to coexist.
For some reason, I've been really struck by the beauty of the clouds this summer. And so this is rainwater from one of them that I took from the bucket that seems to be full all the time outside my house. And I think of it as what, sorry, I'm thinking of it as water of paradox, life, beauty, power, destruction. Loving water.
This is store-bought water of sustenance from after the flood.
Oh, yes, the rain came down. Oh, yes, the rain came down. My roof had a hole in it. I could have drowned. Oh, yes, my roof had a hole in it. I could have drowned. The water of humor.
I'm going to say this water symbolizes my relationship with the Winooski River, which has been like a friend to me, both in Burlington and here.
This water is from Spring Lake in Cuttingsville, where I grew up. I grew up swimming in Spring Lake, and I was had my first swim of the whole summer in it last week, and it felt like a rebirth.
That was water from Greater Hosmer Lake in Vermont, where I went last weekend, had my first swim of the season. It is also water of grief and hope.
Some symbolic water from Lake Broughton, where we live. And the lake showed us this summer that flood insurance may be a good idea. And it brought us great joy all summer long, as it does, and also restoration.
This water will symbolize the water of Big Rideau Lake in Ontario, where I spent some very valuable and precious time with old friends.
This is water that symbolizes discovery, that our basement is not immune to flooding, and salvation, in that in cleaning up the basement, we discovered in an old trunk over 200 letters written between Japan and Massachusetts, between two Universalist ministers, one of whom is my husband's great-grandfather. And we have some history work to do. And the letters survived. I really took care of them.
This water is from several places I went to this summer. Colorado, where for a family reunion where I met 6 of my nephews that I had never met before, little kids. And then I watched my granddaughter for a week in Connecticut. And then I just recently went to Boston for the National Embroiderers Guild conference, and it was very creative.
This is symbolic water from the Mad River in Waitsfield, which runs by Leroux Farm, which is where Molly and Josh were married on July 1st, and it didn't rain.
This morning, this water was collected a little bit each day from the morning dew that accumulates on the lady's mantle plant. In Celtic spirituality, morning dew is sacred, and the lady's mantle plant is a symbol of the divine feminine. So that every morning I go out and you put the water on your face or your heart, wherever you need it. So a little bit every morning from that.
This water is from my well on my first piece of Turtle Island. And just honoring the original Americans who lived there and
the love, gratitude, and abundance that I feel, and just so grateful that this water flowed away from my home during the flood.
This water is from the St. Lawrence River, just south of La Mel Bay in Quebec City, far downstream from the Great Lakes and here. So this water represents the future.
Water of connection from Lake Champlain.
Be plugged in. Our giving is a spiritual act, and our generosity is a form of love and gratitude that helps us to practice Unitarian universalism in support of our shared values with our collective resources. Charity is central to the well-being of our church community and beyond, and as well as primary to our own sense of self. Each month through the UCM Community Pouch Program, we share a part of our collection with an important church fund or a community organization aligned with our values. We don't have the green pouches here today, so there's a collection basket at the rear of this room that you can deposit it on the way out. The community pouch this month will benefit the UCM Care Fund. The Care Fund is funded primarily by donations and is used to provide short-term assistance to members of the broader UCM community, such as housing costs and utility bills. The Care Fund is available also to support people with flood relief and recovery needs. Half of our cash offerings will go to our pouch recipient. The other half will go directly to support the mission and ministry of this congregation. If you wish to designate your entire offering to the community pouch, please indicate that with a note attached to your cash or in the memo line of your check. Checks will go to the church unless otherwise designated. We are so thankful for each and every one of you and your generosity in its many forms. Your offering is greatly received.
Let us join now in a time of meditation and prayer. I invite you to allow your body and mind to relax more deeply this morning, to become more attuned to the condition of your heart and spirit. Let us take a breath. As we celebrate the ingathering of our community, we also bring to mind and heart those members of our community who are no longer with us. Let us especially remember this morning UCM member Liston Tatum, who died on August 13th. May his soul rest in peace and his memory live on and bless us. We hold in our hearts this morning all of us who still feel the impact of the flooding this past July. We hold with gratitude all those who helped in so many ways to make things better. And we share our love and care with those who are still figuring out what comes next. Let us hold with compassion all the griefs and losses, as well as joys and celebrations that are on our hearts this morning. I invite us to share in a brief moment of quiet meditation, and then we'll join in singing Spirit of Life. And now I invite those of you who are on the south side of the room to come forward, and let's have folks, if you wish to share, you can form a line on the side, and we'll just have a continuous flow of sharing. And again, that was unintentional. You are invited to share the one word of significance of your water and its source. This is water of volunteerism from the brook right across here.
This is water of renewal from my parents' pond in California.
This is water from Amboseli National Park in Kenya, where elephants rule.
I bring symbolic water that represents the water that I left on the porch this morning after suddenly realizing that we had a 9:30 instead of a 10. And yeah, the water was from a muddy puddle that formed around our house.
This is water from Rhinebeck, New York, where I spent a few days this summer with two of my daughters, one of whom was from Oregon, and it was really terrific for all of us to be together.
This water is from a lantern I found in a box I was unpacking this week. That had been in my house that was flooded from the North Branch Nature Center. So it represents the eternity of water that after 2 months it's still in a box.
And this is the water from the North Branch behind our house. Probably the same water that Katie just had next door, but in 2 months, it almost looks clear enough to drink. So I guess nature will heal itself.
Agua from the Green Mountain Community Fitness Pool, which nurtures my heart and soul.
This is water of learning and joy.
This is water from Miles' trip to Maine this summer.
This is water from our yard. We know it's of abundance, but it's for trees that we just planted in our yard that need it for their roots.
This is water of healing and restoration and gratitude from the Atlantic Ocean, specifically Crane Beach, north of Boston, my happy place.
This is water of remembrance from a stream in Montpelier, and hopefully to remember the balance between embers, water, and air. Thank you.
This is water of family from the wedding I attended with my grandson next to the Deschutes River in Bend, Oregon. It's water of renewal from the geothermal water that beats the soaking pools at Brighton Bush Retreat Center in Vermont, where I relaxed. And it's water from the Winooski River, which is part of the world we live in, which needs our respect and our care and our nourishment.
Rocco and I brought a little water from the Montpelier City Pool.
This is symbolic water from Shady Row swimming hole where I go with my young daughters.
This water represents joy and play with family, friends, and neighbors. This is from our community swimming pool.
This, this is water from our well, which is right over there across the river. It's 250 feet deep, and it is truly the water of our life.
This is symbolic water of joy for my move a quarter of a mile up the road from my condo up to Westview Meadow.
I'm learning that this is water from my tears, which I clearly have in abundance today. So I think it's also in gratitude to this place and this space and these words that are like unbelievably poignant today. And just seeing all of you, I didn't realize what I was holding in. So it's also water of release. So thanks for being part of this.
I'm bringing symbolic water from Lake Fairley, Vermont, where Art and I spent our honeymoon 58 years ago.
And I'll add in waters for all of those who could not be present with us, those of you present online, all of us held together in community. I invite you to join me in blessing these waters by responding, "May all waters be blessed." Water is life. We give thanks for healthy water to drink, water that sustains our life. May all waters be blessed. Water is the beginning, mystery of our past, the void, the deep, the primordial sea in the stories of life's beginning. We honor our own sacred beginnings. May all waters be blessed. Water is change, the sea we cross on the way to new life. Waters are calm, waters are turbulent on the way to transformation. May all waters be blessed. Water is power, a mighty river that wears away the rock. In the torrent, may we see the power of justice and righteousness to sweep away oppression. May all waters be blessed. Water is cleansing. We give thanks for water to clean our bodies, our dishes, our clothes. Water is bathing in love and letting the water carry away that which obscures our hearts. May all waters be blessed. Water is blessing in community. We remember ancestors who have gathered for rituals at the water's edge, and we turn toward one another in our search for meaning, for truth and wonder. May all waters be blessed, and may these waters that we will return to the earth be blessed, carrying our joys and our sorrows, our tears and our laughter in the ongoing cycle of life. May all waters be blessed. Let us join in our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home. The words can be found in the order of service. Eliza will play it once through for us, or not. She seems surprised. She will give us a hearty intro and join in as you feel. Please rise in body or spirit. You can be seated. Thank you. As we close our service, we extinguish our chalice, which may have self-extinguished, and carry with us its flame of truth, the warmth of community, and the spark of hope into the days and the week ahead. And let us say together our mission statement found in your order of service. Or not. Oh, is it? We build a loving community. Nurture each person's spiritual journey, serve human need, and protect the earth, our home. After the service, you are welcome to enjoy some coffee and treats out in the lobby. If you are able, we also invite you to assist in, this is a pack it in, pack it out, leave it as it was kind of morning. So if you're able to assist with putting chairs away over here, that would be very welcome. In the vestibule, you can find the welcome form. If you're new to our congregation, we invite you to fill that out. You can also register for spiritual exploration. Your child or youth classes begin next Sunday. And just a reminder that the offering basket is at the east side doors toward the porch. And I'm sure our counters would appreciate if you were expeditious in your placement of your offering if you have one to share. And may you go from here with gratitude for this blue boat home that we share, and with the joy and blessing of community in your heart. May you go in peace and return again here next week, 9:30 a.m. in love.